everyone. Welcome to the Sustainable Innovation Forum. We're going to get going. It's 8 o'clock here in Glasgow. We're live from the Climate Action Innovation Zone in Glasgow at COP26. Thanks for joining us both here in person early on a Monday morning and right around the world. We have 40,000 people registered. That's why we can talk to you here, but vast numbers out there as well. I'm Nick Gowing, your chair for the next 3 days. A pleasure to welcome so many of you, some familiar faces, others new to the climate action community. Why are we here this week? Well, it is the urgency of the planetary emergency being addressed with the determination needed. Let me just remind you of the words which came from Boris Johnson, the host for COP26, exactly a week ago. He talked about this being 1 minute to midnight. We had Antonio Guterres, the UN Secretary General, saying that this is now a red alarm for imminent catastrophe. Therefore, the urgency is extraordinarily clear. This is a day at COP26, technically for addressing adaptation, loss, and damage. A day for progress on mitigation. Well, let me offer you this thought, having been across in the blue zone for the last week, that despite accusations of blah, 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 there is an enormous amount of progress. There is incredible momentum, certainly judging by private conversations I've been having with people right at the top. Mark Carney says there's enough money around. What we need now is new plumbing for how to actually distribute it and get it being circulated around the world. Rishi Sunak, the British finance minister, the Chancellor of the Exchequer, making clear that there has to now be a rewiring of the system. I'd suggest that's more than blah, blah, blah. And staggering numbers being bandied around across the river, $130 trillion, if you can imagine what that is. But there's still a lot of work needed, especially on Article 6. Let me give you this sobering thought, though, end of week one from the Energy Transition Commission. To keep 1.5 degrees alive in the next few years, annual CO2 emissions need to be reduced by 22 gigatons per year. Their calculations, according to Adair Turner, the chair of the commission, is that last week at least 9 gigatons were accounted for. That means another 13 gigatons have got to be worked on for this coming week. So why are we here at the Sustainable Innovation Forum for the next 3 days? Welcome to you all to this race against time. So the urgency of time. Well, as you just saw, this forum is about addressing 4 critical themes across the next 3 days. Global action, sector transitions, systems reimagined, and funding innovation of the kind which I addressed a moment or two ago. 4 critical themes, and we're going to have additional stages as well, chaired by myself alongside Mark Barton and Maithri Sitharaman. They'll be joining you, so we'll be rotating through the day. We want you to feel you're part of this. make this a conversation even in this big tent. So see it in that spirit, but we're going to be driving a high-speed pace. So what we'd like you to do is make you feel you can address us through a laptop, through the app as well. You can engage in that session and in any session through live discussion. Go onto the app, ask your question, and what that means is that very time efficiently, I can know what's on your mind. We can then put it to the panel, even come to you on the floor. But please use the app. And these are the addresses as well for social media. Tweet us at climate_action_. There is the address. No, they're not up there. There they are. Follow at climate_action_. And you can use the hashtag #ClimateActionLive, all one word, hashtag SIF21 as well. We need to give a special thank you, enormous infrastructure here, to those who've supported and who are partners for the Sustainable Innovation Forum. Those are the first level of partners, and a second level as well. An enormous number who've committed to this investment for the next 3 days to meet, connect, and engage. And please see this as a place where you will build the community, build new contacts. For online attendees, please visit the virtual expo, which is throughout the Climate Action event platform and app. And for all of you, please visit both the physical exhibition outside and just make sure you're talking to each other. That's the advantage. We're all here, some of you in masks. I would normally be wearing a mask, but not on this platform. So see it as a very convivial way of making new contacts, handing over business cards for the first time for a long time. Now, here we are on Sustainable Innovation Forum Day 1 then. Let's move on with the first keynote thoughts from our headline partner, Oliver Zipse, who's chairman of the Board of Management of the BMW Group.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for inviting me here today. Sustainable Innovation Forum, the name itself reflects one of my core beliefs. The key to sustainability lies in innovation, in innovative technologies, but also in innovative thinking that accepts no boundaries. And above all, it lies in taking action together. The challenges ahead are certainly daunting. What's at stake is nothing less than the very world we live in, making it all the more important that we all come together, that we discuss and debate, and most importantly, that together we choose and follow a binding path with clear goals. And the emphasis here is on together. This is not a race against one another. Either we win together as a society or we all lose. Everyone has a role to play. As a company, as entrepreneurs, we're fully aware of our responsibility. That's why we were the first German car maker to join the business ambition for 1.5 degrees. In doing so, we have committed ourselves to the goal of total climate neutrality by 2050. However, we have to stop thinking and acting in silos. To create solutions together, we will need to think holistically. So in our case, it's not just about the product, it's about the entire value chain. 2050 is a long way off. We have set ourselves extremely ambitious short-term and medium-term targets. The BMW Group and I stand for reducing our carbon footprint over the whole life cycle by at least 40%, as early as 2030 compared to 2019 levels. Our roadmap toward this goal consists of very specific steps we will take together with our workforce, our suppliers and our customers. And it is equally important that what we do is measurable. We believe in the importance of scientifically validated targets. That's why we are part of the Science Based Targets initiative. The mobility sector can and will play a major role in protecting the climate. To achieve this, we will need a radical transformation. Our role here is to use our technical expertise and our strength in innovation to develop solutions. Sustainable innovations that merge the need for mobility with preserving the world we live in. By doing so, we are reducing the amount of CO2 produced by more than 200 million tons through technological measures. Our aim is to reduce the carbon footprint of individual mobility as much as possible for every single customer in every part of the globe, whatever the level of infrastructural development. For us, battery electric and hydrogen-powered electric vehicles are the zero emissions solutions. It is our responsibility to develop and produce these solutions with a minimum CO2 footprint. And we need partners, because these efforts require the appropriate charging and refueling infrastructure. But we can't just wait until all regions have set up the necessary structures to be completely emission-free when on the road. That's why there will still be a need for highly efficient internal combustion engines and plug-in hybrids that contribute to an overall reduction in CO2 emissions. We're not ruling out any technology at this point. What counts for us is making a serious contribution to protecting our climate regardless of the drivetrain technology. Every gram of CO2 counts. In the end, the key factor for the climate will be the carbon content of the whole solution. There is no doubt that ramping up electromobility is the single most important factor on the road to climate neutral mobility. But even in industrialized countries, there is still one major obstacle: the lack of infrastructure. In Europe in particular, climate protection targets are being set independently of infrastructural development. This needs to go hand in hand. And once again, it's all about acting together. This is a task for society as a whole, in which policymakers must define the right framework. Because creating the infrastructure for charging electric cars, for refueling hydrogen, is as crucial as generating renewable energies. After all, an electric car that runs on coal-fired electricity won't get us anywhere. This makes it so important to give all stakeholders the opportunity to be heard at COP26. And we all know, if we want to drastically reduce CO2 emissions, we need cooperation on a global scale, specifically when it comes to carbon pricing. We support pricing as the most efficient way to curb carbon emissions. Country-specific, different pricing poses a real danger. Because what happens with different pricing? Energy-intensive industries move to countries with a low carbon price. This does nothing to help the climate. As such, we call for international cooperation with standardized carbon pricing. For me, there's also another key issue at stake. We must continue to think about how we use our planet's resources in the long term. Every year, we humans consume more than 100 billion tons of raw materials and rising. Many of these resources are finite. And it goes without saying that extracting raw materials is never free from an environmental impact. In addition, the processing of many primary raw materials is extremely energy intensive and therefore extremely carbon intensive. That's why we at the BMW Group are pursuing the vision of a circular economy. Just a fantasy? Not at all. The BMW iVision Circular has showcased what is possible when you think circularity to a maximum. An all-electric vehicle that is made 100% of recycled materials. We have brought this vehicle along, so please take a look for yourself. Talk to our experts about how we can turn this vision into reality together. We will pursue this goal of circularity just as systematically as we are reducing our CO2 emissions. Our proof of this is our goal to continually increase the proportion of secondary materials in our products to 50%. We at the BMW Group deliver on our promises. Ladies and gentlemen, humankind is facing the challenge of preserving the world in which we live for future generations. It is up to each and every one of us to challenge ourselves. we are aware of our responsibility and we make our contribution. That's what counts. If everyone works toward a sustainable future within their means, we will soon see the first measurable results. Let's join forces and take action together for the greatest possible impact. Let's engage in an in-depth dialogue on this in the coming days. Always according to the motto, no more waiting, no more clever tactics, it's time to act now.
Right, time to act now, very clear. And we will be joined by a senior executive from BMW later. So if you've got questions and you want to put thoughts, please make sure we know about them.